Hey, this is John Campanelli, editor of Waste and Recycling News, and we are at the Corporate Recycling and Waste Conference in Orlando, and the conference is over.
It is. Day 2 of the inaugural one has been in the books, and everyone's already geared up for next year, that's for sure.
Absolutely. The big highlight, in my opinion, today was this morning when we presented the award for the Green Corporate Citizen. And that award went to, it's kind of a little bit of an upset, went to a Kansas company, Collins Bus Corporation. And they have astonishingly, 2 years ago, they really had they were throwing everything in the landfill except for scrap metal. And in 2 short years, they've recycled pretty much everything, up to 90% diversion in 2 years. Yeah. So that was quite astonishing. How about you, Sean? Well, by the way, this is Sean Wright, our reporter.
Well, today, John, I was able to talk with Brad Tom, who is also one of our great speakers. He's the Director of Sustainability for MGM Resorts International. So he and I had a great conversation throughout the conference, was able to pull him aside, and we had a nice little chat at the booth. So, and here it is. Hi, I'm Sean Wright with Waste and Recycling News reporter. I'm here with Brad Tom, Director of Sustainability for MGM Resorts International.
Thanks,
Brad, thanks so much for coming. Brad, of course, was speaking, one of our speakers today, talking about best practices that they've been utilizing throughout MGM Resorts. And it's been one of those things that, I mean, Brad, what have you learned in the last 4 or 5 years of doing this?
Yeah, MGM Resorts has really transformed itself from a laggard in recycling into a leader in recycling in our industry and in our community. And some of the key takeaways that I presented at this first corporate recycling and waste conference were to one, find a champion in your industry or in your company. That's been really successful for us, to have a leader in recycling, someone who's passionate about it, and someone who's a little financially minded as well. Recycling's a lot about statistics and numbers and weights and volumes and costs. So maybe someone in finance wants to take recycling under their wing and create a baseline. I tell a lot of people who are just starting out, if you haven't calculated your recycling rate yet, go ahead, calculate that baseline and find out where you are. Because if you can't measure it, you can't improve on it, and that's what we did. Our first recycling rate was 9.6% in 2007, and now in 2011, I think it's going to be 40% because we've been able to communicate each year the progress, but through reports and through effective communication tools.
And you mentioned having somebody to be almost a champion for recycling. When you first got there, you said, various spots were doing it, but you kind of brought it underneath, the whole umbrella kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. When I first got there in 2007, a few people knew that we were recycling, and some people thought we were recycling, but we really weren't. And so I did bring that all together, and I set up a corporate waste council where volunteer recycling coordinators from each property would get together 3 times a year, kind of at a conference like this, but just internally, and we would share best practices. We'd talk about each other's recycling programs that were all a little different at each resort that we owned. And through that, we learned from each other, and we elevated the people at the bottom to really bring their programs up. And it's been a real success story for the company.
And you mentioned people at the bottom, but what about people at the top, getting them on board? I mean, sometimes it's a harder sell, isn't it? I mean, to get the higher ups on there, or was it?
It wasn't after we started showing them the numbers. We're a very financially minded company, and our CFOs really enjoyed seeing these recycling reports and knowing their cost of recycling. And I had to prove the business case to them every year. I have to show them that the resources that they're committing to recycling are paying itself back, and we're either breaking even or we're at a discount now, and we're not at a premium because the landfill rate in Las Vegas is modest and relatively low, so to try to get recycling below that is quite challenging.
Yeah, and now we talked, everybody loves talking about the pig farm. The pig farm. You said how many tons is it, or scraps, per year is it?
The pig farm, we sent about 8,000 tons of food scraps from our buffets and cafes to the pig farm in 2010, and we're on pace to do 12,000 tons in 2011. Wow. And we have the unlikely presence of the RC Farms pig farm in North Las Vegas. He's been there for 20 years. His father was a pig farmer. And those 2,500 happy pigs eat all of the scraps from our buffets And something I didn't know, pigs love lobster, and even the goats out there love fruit salad. And you've seen him on Discovery Channel's Dirty Jobs. And go ahead and Google him, and it's a great story if you don't know about the pig farm in North Las Vegas.
And that was one of those things I think you said too, that you went down to the pig farm to kind of.
I did.
Yeah.
I've actually filmed my own version of Dirty Jobs for the MGM Resorts television network.
Nice.
You can Google that too and find me online, visiting the pig farm and actually feeding the pigs the stew that we cooked from the buffet food.
Nice. And as one last thing, since you were, of course, the speaker here, and we would really appreciate that, what did you think of the conference overall, especially being an inaugural one, kind of a first one?
It was excellent. The quality of speakers, the quality of the topics, and the quality of the sponsors here was really well thought of, thoughtful, and put together for the inaugural conference. It's nice to see the thought leaders from this industry all come together in one place and share best practices. I've had awesome meetings at lunch or at dinner or just networking opportunities in the hallway to learn from other industries, learn from vendors who can provide services to a company like ours. And I think this is going to be a big success, and I'm really looking forward to coming back next year.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and the great thing about Brad especially is that seemed to be a general theme with everything that was going on for these last 2 days, is different companies, corporations, organizations finding innovative ways, like the pig farm, to kind of handle their waste, and of course, other ways that were more conventional as well.
Yeah, so this was a great 2 days, and we're going to do this again next year, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.